Hello, I'm David Speedy, Senior Fellow at the Carnegie Council. This year we're asking you to make a generous contribution to our 2010 Spring Fund Drive. To donate, please click on the pause button. You will be instructed how to make your contribution and then return to this video. Thank you for your support for the Voice of Ethics and International Affairs.
Let me make a prediction here that is a pretty bold prediction, right? And it's a position in the plundered planet. And it's this, that we're going to see a sea change in geopolitics. The geopolitics of the 21st century will increasingly be about international public goods. I think climate change is just paradigmatic of a whole class of problem which will be about the supply of international public goods. Now, the fundamental problem with the supply of international public goods in a world of 194 countries is free riding. Right? Most countries, the rational thing to do is free ride. Right? There are only 5 countries in the world that cannot free ride because they're too big. They know that if they don't do it, nobody else will. Right? The whole idea of free riding is you say, well, whether it happens, whether I do it will make no difference whether it happens or not. There are only 5 countries that just cannot say that. America, China, India, Europe, if it manages to be one, and Japan. Right? And those 5 countries, I call them the G5. Right? We've had G's this, G's that, but I think the real structure of the world is going to be the G5. Because the G5 face a common problem that they're too big to free ride, everybody else is small enough to free ride. And if everybody else free rides, the G5 are in trouble because those public goods won't be there. And so the G5 will face a common problem of how to use carrots and sticks to persuade everybody else. It's about the G165. And they're not a G because the other people don't act collectively. But the G5 are going to have to act collectively. And so it's a hard leap to imagine, but the G5 are going to find themselves increasingly on the same side in international problems. And so they're going to have to learn how to work together. Of course, the next decade or two will be a very bumpy ride because this flies in the face of history. You know, India and China won't cooperate with each other. They both want to see themselves as victims vis-a-vis Europe and America. You know, Europe likes to posture that it's the good guy and America isn't. You know, there's been a lot of historical baggage that we'll have to, but that's all it is. It's historical baggage, right? The basic structure of the problem is that these 5 are going to have to learn to work together. And there's one really nice implication. These 5 are so different one from another, I can't think of a single issue on which the G5 have an interest which is in their interest, but is not aligned with the global interest. And so the only things on which they'll be able to cooperate are things that are actually in the global interest. I describe that as being bullies for good.